Oh, that's really cool. Well, Steve is on the line from Evansville with a question for you.
Morning, Steve. Good morning.
Yes. I planted 4 rose bushes. One of them is absolutely not producing any blooms. What could I do to, or will it? Thank you.
Okay. All of them should be in a full sun. And when we say a full sun, 6 to 7 hours a day. Number 2, fertilizing with a high phosphorus fertilizer. Now, why is the one in the same environment not blooming and the other 3 are? And I say it's because that's the way they were when you got them. One had already cycled through its blooming, and I believe if you put either A, Epsom salts, or A and B, a high phosphorus fertilizer, and Epsom salts, that will eventually bloom and bloom to your delight with the others. So I think it's just a waiting game, Epsom salts, high phosphorus fertilizer, and you'll be all right.
Oh, that's good news. Okay, Jerry from Newburgh on the line.
Morning, Jerry.
Good morning,
Good.
Charlie. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
On my tomatoes there, every time they get about the size of an inch and a half diameter, the bottoms all are turning black and rotten. What's causing that?
We have had, that's environmental. That's not an insect or a virus or a fungus. We have had a tremendous amount of rain. That rain has kept the soil temperatures, it's kept the soil very moist, and as a result, that's what you're looking at. Now, the only thing you can do really is to wait for it to dry out. You don't want to do any hoeing or weeding around, not weeding, but you don't want to disrupt the soil around the plant because you'll affect the roots. I would simply put a little lime, maybe a tablespoon or 2 of lime around the top of the plant. That will work its way down and help. Other than that, there's not a whole lot you can do. I know that's not a good answer, but that's about all I can say.
Yeah. It's interesting what you say. So you're saying because of all the rain, it's kept the soil in a
damp, and so roots have to have an air exchange with the environment. It's like pulling your head underwater and you trying to breathe.
Yeah.
When you have all of that water filling up the interstitial areas of the soil, the roots can't breathe.
They drown.
And then you look at the leaves turning yellow, you look at some of the new fruit turning black. It's a result of too much water in the soil.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, Mary's on the line with a question for Charlie.
Morning, Mary.
Good morning, Charlie. How are you?
I am fine. How are you?
Oh, great. I'm calling about some banana trees I had planted.
Okay.
Last year I had like 4, and this year I've came up with like 8. And I still got little sproutings coming up. Is there any way to separate those and like plant them elsewhere?
I would.
Or is it too late?
No, I would wait until I would wait later on in the season. I don't know if these are hardy bananas or non-hardy bananas, but you're better off separating your bananas after they start going dormant, which around here is going to be towards the end of October, middle of November. But if you want to try it, and I'm not saying be a guinea pig, but it's kind of fun. If you've got some extra banana plants, try separating them out and cutting them where you still have some roots and you have some stalk, and just see what happens. Water them in real good and see where it goes. It'd be kind of fun, really.
Yeah, but you say otherwise wait until maybe October.
Until they go dormant.
They go dormant. All right, we are back. More calls after this. 270. Guy Charlie Stalker, and Robert is on the line with a question for Charlie.
Morning, Robert.
Morning, Charlie.
Good morning.
My question is, I've got a flowering crabapple tree in front of my house.
Yes.
And in the back, I've got a rose bush. And both of them have leaves that are turning yellow and falling off. Quite a few, and I don't know what the problem is.
Okay. The rose bush is most probably too much water. Now, I don't know if water funnels into that area or if it's not a well-drained soil, but most probably the rose bush is a result of too much water, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. You have probably fire blight on the crabapple. You can trim it off. You can not do anything, and it will still come back, but that's most probably fire blight, and that's a bacterium. And I'm trying to think what you treat it with, but I've seen where people have treated the fire blight on the crabapple and they've not treated it. The next year it doesn't look like you've done anything anyway, and it's fine. So I almost recommend doing nothing for fire blight. Now, other people may disagree with me, but that's my stance. So you've got two different things going on.
Okay. Well, Sandy from Mount Vernon up next.
Morning, Sandy.
Hi, Charlie.
Oh, Sandy!
Yeah, this is Sandy.
You know that.
I do. Very dear friend. Very good friend.
I've got a question that I'm sure many people have.
Okay.
My mulch that you put out last year has deteriorated, and I have so many weeds. I have a young man that's been down here working since before 6 o'clock this morning pulling weeds, and he pulls over a 5-gallon bucket full every half hour.
Okay.
Is there anything that we can put in the landscaping to help control weeds?
Very good question. Very good question. Here's where I would go with that. I would spray very carefully Roundup, which the active ingredient is glyphosate. I would spray the whole area, just the weeds, not the plants, with glyphosate. Then I would turn around and use a weed pre-emergent. There's a new one on the market called Hands Free, HANDSFREE, Hands Free. And you sprinkle it down and you water it in, and it's good for 6 months and has a broad spectrum control. So spray with Roundup to kill what's there, and then come back and use the weed pre-emergent, hands-free, and you should be, for the most part, unless you just have an errant weed hither and yon, good for the season. Sandy.
That was good. Voice recognition. There you go. Donna from Princeton on the line.
Morning, Donna.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have two questions.
Okay.
The first one is it too late to trim back a lilac bush?
I would say no. I'd say you're okay.
Okay, and the second one is, can you dig like daylily bulbs up in the fall?
Yes, you can. You can dig them up, separate them out, plant them in other areas. Right now, they're multiplying under the ground. It's best to separate them out and plant them later on in the season after they've been established and they start going into dormancy. That's when you can really gain control of separating them, and they do much better that way. Yes.
Okay. Well, we are really.
I'm trying to be succinct.
I like it. Okay.
Succinct.
We are. Kathy from Rockport up next.
Morning, Kathy. Good morning. Good morning, Kathy!
Oh, can you hear us? Kathy? Okay. Maybe not? I thought I heard her breathing on the line, but I guess not. Okay, would you want to talk a little bit about what you brought, maybe?
I brought some impatiens. And impatiens are such lately that I don't say you don't find a lot of them. They're becoming just a little bit scarce because there is a problem with growing in the greenhouses, the impatiens, but nonetheless, I just use this as a sample. There are a lot of people out there who have not planted their impatiens or any of their annuals. When you do plant, you'll notice most of them, they have a shelf life just like food at the market. You'll notice there are a lot of roots in here, so what we encourage you to do is pull or knead those roots, and that really, really invigorates the annuals before you plant. Use a little bit of fertilizer, and one of the hardest things to do is pinch off.
I hate when he does this.
I know, but it allows the plant to rest, and in resting, it develops even more roots, and you will benefit by all of the color later in the season. So pinch it off, knead the roots, fertilize, and you'll be rewarded.
Okay, more Charlie after the break. Morning headlines are up next. You're watching Local 7 Lifestyles on WTVW.